In just the last week, 2 dead whales have washed up ashore at 2 beaches in the tri-state area. Joining us now, Dr. Hector Rosenbaum, Executive Director of the Wildlife Conservation Society's New York Bright program. Welcome, Doc. We thank you for being with us. Can you tell us about the species of whale that washed up in Rockaway Beach last week, and how common is it for this particular whale to be in that area in the first place?
Oh, thank you for having me this morning. Very interested in and very excited to share some important information about these whales. In fact, the one that was found off of Rockaway Beach is one of the largest baleen whales that's found in our area, and we know very little about it. It's found in waters that range from about 50 to 100 miles offshore, and it's seen very infrequently, yet it's here. And our passive acoustic monitoring, where we listen for whales, is actually shown that these animals are found at low levels year-round and are found seasonally from March to May, in essence taking a spring break here in New York, either on migration or for feeding. And unfortunately, the animal that stranded on the Rockaways did have some signs of getting hit by a vessel. And we know that this is the busiest one of the busiest areas in the world for shipping and other boat traffic. And so, unfortunately, this animal may have gotten hit by a vessel while it was in this area during this springtime.
I guess the question is, how do you prevent something like that? I mean, this is their home, and vessels that are traversing the waterways here. Again, I know these are unintended consequences here, but how is this would this be more preventable?
So one of the things that we're doing at the Wildlife Conservation Society is trying to get this information to be used in a variety of different ways. So we actually have these acoustic monitoring devices that listen for these whales, some of them in near real time. And so what we're trying to do is get that information out there to mariners, to the public, to actually help ships know when whales are present in these areas. And in fact, the entrance to the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey in the port area, there is an area that's active between November and April where ships actually have to slow down to 10 knots to protect a critically endangered species, the North Atlantic right whale. So as you said, these are endangered whales, even critically endangered whales, not the one that we were just talking about, but the North Atlantic right whale. And in the metro region, and New York, people in New York and New Jersey are aware of these animals, and now we have to do more to protect them. So getting that information out there, making recommendations for practices to help protect these whales as they come into contact, with human stressors.
Doc, let me ask you this, because I know it's the great mystery here. It's like, what's out there? How many? I mean, as far as the whale population on our immediate shores here in the tri-state area, what are we talking about?
So that's really interesting. So, there are animals like the humpback whale that are really close to our shores, where you can actually go whale watching from Brooklyn. And, we're learning more about these animals. They are using this environment in an increasing fashion for feeding. And so we see them more frequently. Right. The study that we just published, this is an animal that exists in areas, at times of the year where people aren't out on the water. So we see them much more infrequently. That's why our work is so important, to detect these animals and learn more about them. But we have animals that are increasingly using these habitats, like that, an animal like a humpback whale that spends more time here feeding and passing through the areas. And we actually have an animal like a critically endangered North Atlantic right whale, which spends more time here as well. And there are less than 400 animals on the planet. And then we have this animal like the sei whale, which is the third largest whale on this planet. And it's right off of our shores, 50 to 100 miles. And we're just learning about these animals. So there's still a lot more to do.
It's fascinating. Before I do let you go, anything that the public can do to protect some of these endangered whales?
Yeah, I think it's getting engaged, making your voices heard, making sure that your constituents, that your representatives know that, that you care about marine life and you care about the environment. Get out to our parks, the Bronx Zoo, the New York Aquarium, and make your voice heard, because this is a critical time for us to protect the marine environment. Whales and other marine life are increasingly using these habitats, and we want New Yorkers and people off in New Jersey really care about the marine environment. They love going to the beach, and they love a flourishing marine environment. So the more we can do to have people's voices heard, the better shape we are in order to protect that environment.
Dr. Hector Rosenbaum, thank you. We really fascinating stuff. Thanks for taking a few moments.
Thank you.